Hello everyone, and welcome to tonight's edition of Pass the Controller. I am your host K7, and with me tonight we have two panelists in Justin and Rob. Since we do not have our usual group of three or more, sadly, we are basically going to be doing a PTC free play, and for those who have never seen a free play before, what it is we take the topics that we were normally going to be discussing inside our normal episode, but instead, we're just going to be discussing the topics as much as we want, and as a bonus, I'll be able to join in on the discussions, which is always fun. So, yay! So, to start things off, in the news lately...
What is in your mouth, Justin?
Oh, God.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think we needed to address that first. What was that?
I was eating
Looks
the
like a dog
Skylander
treat.
figure.
Oh, I thought
He's
it was
eating
like...
Skylanders. Well, there's a topic for us to discuss later. Skylanders and the
It
digestive
looked
tract.
like a Reese's peanut butter cup, but with a piranha plant color scheme.
Reese's Piranha Plant Cup.
Because when you hold it like upside down like that, you like see mostly the base, and then yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I see that. I think like a really messed up peanut butter cup, like one with sriracha or something in it.
Yeah.
That would be the best April Fool's prank on someone. I got to this
No,
peanut butter
wait, just
cup.
give out like just keep like the same Reese's peanut butter cup wrapping, and then just give those out as Halloween singles to people.
And you are the reason why kids aren't allowed to take candy from people anymore.
Hey man, this is just sriracha. I ain't putting like razor blades or like GHB in that shit.
Wait, no, but you're talking about putting sriracha on Skylanders and giving them out for kids to eat.
No,
No, I'm talking about
Reese's
peanut butter
Puffs.
cups.
Oh, God. Great, now I'm the person.
Yeah, come on, man. Where's your head at?
Best start to a free play yet.
Oh. Okay,
Hey,
well,
welcome to PTC free play. The fuck is in your mouth?
that is a way to start it. Well then, now let's put the train back on the tracks and then get into our first topic. Oh God, what are you putting in your mouth?
I think that was water.
We hope.
A mason jar filled with cola.
Oh, very nice. All right. Well, now our first real topic tonight. In the news lately, it has been reported that Hideo Kojima of the Metal Gear Solid series is going to be leaving Konami after Metal Gear Solid 5. Think that's a big hit against Konami? Is it well overdue? What do you guys think of that?
I thought he already left. I honestly thought that the guy was gone after 3, and that was a big part of why 4 just kind of sucked and didn't really feel like a stealth game anymore, and everything was just overacted and trying to be like the previous Metal Gear games instead of just actually being a Metal Gear game. So I don't feel like we're really going to miss a beat just because that series... It's felt like it's ran its course for some time now, so I don't see Hideo Kojima's absence having any effect on it.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Justin?
I kind of agree. I mean, people who've been with an industry long enough, yeah, they leave. Like, think of all the times, all the stuff people said when Nobu announced he was leaving and not going to work on any Final Fantasies. We're like, whoa, that's just not right.
Well, I mean, what Final Fantasy game was his last one?
I honestly,
I don't
think,
know. Oh, let's look it up.
was it 12?
Was it 12?
Well,
I
that was when I
think
first
maybe.
noticed a big music change.
Because, man, like, Final Fantasy as a franchise completely tanked after that point. Final Fantasy 13 is just one of the worst games that I've played, period.
Oh,
So I don't know,
terrible.
maybe Nobu, even though he just does the music, had a little bit more of effect than Hideo Kojima did on Metal Gear Solid 4.
yeah, but I mean,
despite being the guy running everything on the game.
you're talking about, Nobu Uematsu is like the spirit of Final Fantasy. I don't really...
But the thing is, no, Nobu worked on Final Fantasy 14, but yeah, Final Fantasy 12 was his last
official.
With Square. It was his last official one, but he only composed the title theme to that game.
Okay, so
and then he came and then he was brought back in to do the entire soundtrack for Final Fantasy 14, but 13 was done by let me see, what was the name here?
That makes a lot of sense. Like, because 14's music felt a lot.
Hama Uzu.
Yeah, 14's music felt a lot like returning to that kind of style that we all grew up loving. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a noticeable difference.
Yes, but granted, 13 has a great soundtrack. It's just it is noticeably different.
So I'm not sure if I'd agree if 13 has a great soundtrack when you're stacking it up against the Final Fantasy titles that Nobu worked on. I'd say that it has a good soundtrack compared to most games, but there were a couple things that really stuck out to me as huge problems, namely having vocals in just like your general overworld progression background music really throws me off and takes me out of the action. I found that the battle themes were largely forgettable. They didn't have the same kind of strong melody that you usually expect in a lot of the older games, and particularly with Nobu's work. Think of good examples being, like Those Who Fight Further in Final Fantasy VII.
Ares theme.
Ares' theme, any battle theme in Final Fantasy VI. Pretty much all the battle themes.
Well, I like how even with 16-bit music, he was able to make an operatic feel in Final Fantasy VI.
But we're basically comparing
the full range of what he could do. Is just impressive.
But we're pretty much comparing Kojima to Nobu, which I don't think it's like Nobu. I think was like a legend inside his field. Kojima is the Metal Gear Solid series is fantastic. Though it feels like it's dying. Well, I loved it initially. Though the later ones felt kind of it was going downhill. 1 through 3 are
great.
1 through 3, yeah, but I mean 4 was kind of
they feel forced. It feels like Family Guy. It's like early on it's fantastic, and then it just starts to get old. Kind of like Snake.
It just kind of tries to be itself 10 years ago. But you can't be yourself 10 years ago because everything's changed.
But the thing is, does it evolve though?
Well, then, if that's how you feel, and that's how I feel about 4, is it definitely was like trying too hard to be Metal Gear Solid.
They drop you in the middle of a Call of Duty Warzone on the first mission of the game.
Yeah,
I got a huge problem with that because, I mean,
this ain't going to be a stealth game
Where's
no more.
Where's the infiltration? I don't want to be.
It's more of like a Drake Uncharted action game.
Yeah, it was.
Or the other way around.
Call of Duty Solid.
Call of Duty Solid.
Call of Duty.
Call of Solid Duty.
Call of Duty.
Heroes Duty.
I don't want to buy that game.
It's Heroes Duty.
But I mean, so if him leaving might be a good thing for the franchise, honestly. If he's taking it to a point where it's no longer as enjoyable. I mean, it's going to depend on what 5 is like, which.
Yeah. But
I mean,
if it's anything like Ground Zero, Ground Zeroes was technically the preview for it, which it could be all right. I'm not saying it's not going to be great, but it. Well, no way. I am kind of saying that. I'm just saying be wary. So it's like in my opinion, it's going to be it is a big blow for Konami because the guy did know his stuff for the most part. It's just it feels like he's just stopped. He just hasn't really cared as much, and it feels like Konami just kept stringing him along a bit more.
Yeah, it's like Metal Gear Solid 1 through 3 are Van Halen in the 80s, like when David Lee Roth was still there, pre-Sammy Hagar.
Okay.
And then Metal Gear Solid 4 is Van Halen with Gary Cherone as the vocalist. Like you already even went through the Sammy Hagar era, and you're beneath even that. But then you're just trying to sound like what happened before you had Sammy Hagar, and you can't really do that without David Lee Roth in his 20s.
Sammy Hagar
before the cocaine really started having an effect on his system.
Yeah. Well, you can also say the same thing about Guns N' Roses too. But.
Oh, absolutely. You could say that about most of the rock bands.
Yeah. But oh well. But yeah, it's definitely overdue. Definitely overdue. But it makes me also wonder: are they going to do the thing that most companies do and keep the series going?
I mean,
Do you think they're going to keep the Metal Gear Solid series going?
I don't see. It's such
Without
a profitable
Kojima?
franchise. Why would you stop? I mean, that'd be weird.
Well, it's like the creator's gone.
I think that they should just drop it as a game franchise and just make either movie series or TV shows about it. Because one of the strengths that I always felt about the early Metal Gear Solid games was just that you got cinema quality storytelling for the most part.
Yeah.
Maybe not graphically, but I mean that like Metal Gear Solid is one of the best espionage thrillers as a story out there. And it's just like Solid. And the reason Metal Gear Solid kicks ass is in large part because Solid Snake kicks ass. That's a great character to follow around on a camera. And I think that they could just do a lot more with what made Metal Gear Solid great in movies. Probably
well, in
more
that
than
case, you could say the same
point.
thing in regards to Mass Effect, being that the next one's not going to be Commander Shepard.
Well, I'd watch the shit out of a Mass Effect movie.
Well, there are Mass Effect movies out.
There are.
Mass Effect,
I read the
like,
Paragon Lost.
real ones,
man.
like
Paragon Lost I thought it was a decent movie.
It was okay.
Well, I said decent. I'm not saying it's like Super Mario Brothers, but
Alright.
that's what every video game movie strives to be.
Super Mario Brothers and Street Fighter.
Ah, that was a great one.
Jean-Claude Van Damme played the perfect Guile.
Yeah,
Oh
Who
God.
else would you have
doesn't even
gotten to
sound
play that
American.
God, I feel. Oh, I hurt on the inside after saying that, even as a joke.
role? But who else would you
Ow.
have gotten really to be Guile?
Reb Brown.
I guess that is true. Yeah.
As long as it's not Steven Seagal, almost anyone can be.
Oh
Guile.
my God, that would have been terrible.
Steven Seagal
Well,
as
you can
Guile.
picture like
T-Hawk. I could not think of anyone more ready-made to be T-Hawk.
Steven
Steven
Seagal as
Seagal.
Thunderhawk.
Yeah.
Oh God. No, Steven Seagal is more Dan Hibiki. He even has the ponytail.
yeah, but he'd have to lose so much weight to be Dan.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, I like Dan.
Oh yeah,
That's
Dan is one of my favorite characters. So having the over the top guy who thinks that he's the greatest person in the world, that is
Dan.
Dan.
That
That
is Dan.
is Steven Seagal as Dan.
I just feel like Steven Seagal isn't going to be over the top enough to be Dan. He's more like Leslie Nielsen in a Zemeckis movie, where just like he's the only guy that doesn't realize that everyone's joking around. So that's why you just kind of like relegate him to this minor role, like as Thunderhawk,
Would
and
you
then you
prefer
let
Leslie
somebody
Nielsen
with a
in
little
Surf
bit
Ninjas?
more. Pardon?
Would you prefer Leslie Nielsen in Surf Ninjas?
Yeah, that would be even more appropriate, as a matter of fact. Which brings me to the fact that I think Ernie Reyes Jr. would be a better casting for Dan Hibiki.
Okay.
Or Rob Schneider, since we're sticking with
Oh,
cast members.
Rob Schneider in anything just makes me hurt. No, no. He was fine in The Waterboy. That's it.
Also, Deuce Bigelow the first.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad in the first Deuce
Okay.
Bigelow. I mean,
Alright.
for what that movie was, it was pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, the
Well,
movie
if they
title
were
was
aiming,
Deuce
well, if they were
Bigelow,
aiming for
Male
garbage, they
Gigolo.
sure hit it. But yeah, well, in that case, who do you think who should play Ken and Ryu? Because obviously Johnny Cage is probably not the best choice for Ken.
Oh, man. I think Ken should be Matthew McConaughey.
Okay.
I could see that really. Like
Like,
Can't
I
hit-
feel like he
Matthew
exudes
McConaughey has to go full
party
though.
play attitude.
He can't hold back. He just has to be the full Matthew McConaughey to be Ken.
McConaughey.
Like, that full of himself.
Yeah, he's got to be like a combination of like his character as the agent in Tropic Thunder, and then shit, I ran out of Matthew McConaughey roles right off the top of my head. But yeah, the other one that would fit really well for Ken Masters is what he should be.
Well, now that I think of it, M. Bison was the perfect role for Raul Julia. He played M. Bison perfectly.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Okay.
That's still one of my favorite lines in the movies. Like, the day M. Bison destroyed your village was the worst day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
It was Tuesday.
Yeah, and then he proceeded to defend his base with the dual Street Fighter II Turbo arcade sticks.
Yes. Oh,
Yes,
wow, I
yeah.
remembered that.
How could you forget?
Oh.
Or the ending
Well,
when
I forget
like every surviving
props.
character
I don't
gets in a
remember
line,
props.
chuckles, and then goes hi-ya, and either punches or kicks directly at the camera, and then fade credits.
Oh, my God.
It's the kind of shit that you would expect in a Power Rangers movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, but that's kind of like the level of the acting throughout the whole movie. It was kind of that Power Ranger style, to the point where you like explosions happen and people are flipping in the wrong direction. Even in that Street Fighter movie, like that, you define the laws of physics by flipping backwards right there. And it's great. I love shit like
Well,
that.
Street Fighter is
Walking down
pretty
the street,
physics
do a
by-
backflip.
Oh, another great line is when E Honda and some other guy are getting tortured at like Vega's house.
Oh,
of
E Honda
or
and
whatever it is.
Balrog.
Yeah, it's Balrog.
Balrog is a good guy in this.
Balrog is a good. Oh,
Balrog
okay.
was a
There
good
we go.
guy. He was one of the
That's
cameramen.
why I was having trouble, because I was like, man, I'm running out of the good guy.
Yeah, Balrog,
Yeah, and
Balrog
Blanca
was
was
a good
already
guy.
captured, so it couldn't have been him. So yeah, so E Honda and Balrog are getting tortured at Vega's House of Scares, and it's just like, you know, Balrog's like, man, how are you putting up with this? And E Honda's just like, I am sumo. When it comes to pain, I can take my mind to another place. And Balrog says, hey, next time your mind goes out, tell it to bring back pizza.
For me, my favorite line is basically when they're watching the TV, and it's like they were doing the deception. They were watching the TV with Chun-Li's message to them, and she basically sends the truck to drive in on them. They see the truck coming at them through the camera, and they see it coming from out the window, and Zangief just goes and yells, "Change the channel!" That was wonderful.
That's the get to the chopper moment.
Yes, but it's like he says it. Everyone just takes a beat and then just turns and is like,
I gotta watch this movie again. I forgot about
I'm totally gonna watch
that.
this after
That
we're
and
done.
Super Mario Brothers and the Mortal Kombat movies are some of my favorite ones. They're so they're cheesy, they're campy, they're so bad, they're great.
Now I got a question for you. Would you consider the 1986 animated Transformers movie to be in the so bad it's good category, or just good?
That is a good question.
Because I'm real hard on the just good category. That had
It's like
great
it
cast, great
hits
acting.
a niche. It nails what it's aiming at. I will say that. It's like it's going for like when you think penultimate 80s style anime cartoon, it's Transformers.
For sure.
And the 1986 movie by
You
today's
got the
standards
plot.
it's so bad it's so bad it's good, but at the time I would say it's just good.
Justin?
I don't know.
Have you
I
seen
didn't
it?
actually. I haven't. I watched this like well later. Like I grew up watching G1 and whatnot because it was on TV, but I did not see the movie until mid '90s at best. And by then, I've been watching like anime right and left. So I mean, for me, it was in that so bad it's good category. But I can see how,
If I was a kid
Yeah.
watching it, yes, it would be
like,
great.
if I had watched it when I watched the rest of G1, and per kind of like the 80s movies, which I've watched a decent amount of anime movies from the 80s, unless we're talking like Harlock, which is kind of like the best anime movies I've ever seen. But, I mean, yeah. It's
I know. I kind of like Irresponsible Captain Tyler's version.
Yeah. But I mean, definitely, like at the time, it would have been like a great movie. But it's definitely like enjoyable. Like I love it. So
Now, and
I would still argue, and admittedly I'm biased because I've probably seen the movie about 50 times. I think around the age 14 to 15, I could recite about 90% of the script.
that is me
Just
with
from
Spaceballs.
memory.
yeah,
The Spaceballs is just good, but I feel
Spaceballs
like
is
I feel
just
like
amazing. You mean?
that's not really up for debate. Transformers the movie, on the other hand, is. And this is my case on why I would say it qualifies as just good, even by today's standards. One of the big reasons is the acting.
Okay.
Back in the 80s, it was unheard of to get big-name talent like Orson Welles to be your main villain, the planet-eating evil robot that turns into an even larger robot.
Somehow, because
You've
physics.
got Judd Nelson from the Ferris Bueller, Breakfast Club, St. Elmo's
Yeah.
Fire, all those.
Him.
John Hughes movies. That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking of.
That guy.
John Hughes movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Hot Rod, the main character of the show. You still got all of the quality voice talent from the regular show returning, like Frank Welker,
Yeah, you get all the good
Peter
guys.
Cullen,
Mhm.
and you have their conflict largely resolved within the first half hour, and a pretty great moment of pathos with the death of Optimus Prime, and then all of the awesome fighting that happened just before that point. I would still consider that one of the best fight scenes in movies. Optimus entering the battle and then versus Megatron.
Okay.
I mean, the soundtrack is a little cheesy, but I feel like if you could take it in the context of when it was released,
I wouldn't say
works.
the soundtrack's cheesy. The soundtrack is 80s.
oh,
Soundtrack is 80s.
Like
It's
you know,
about
you got the
80s.
touch.
It is 80s power ballad. That's not cheesy.
Oh, yeah.
That is its own category, 80s power ballad.
Oh yeah, and then you got Weird Al doing Dare to Be
Yes!
Stupid in that movie.
That was great.
With Eric Idle and his junk robots that then started
That
an
was
impromptu
great.
dance party. Just right in the middle of all of the bad things that are happening to everyone.
And no one mentions it again.
Yeah, no one ever talks about that. The only
It's-
complaint that I can really have is the character of Daniel in the movie.
Okay.
Oh, and it got a PG rating despite somebody saying "oh shit" in it.
Well, but that was also at a time when there was no PG-13. It was all PG.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
all
that's right, because you could call someone a penis breath in ET, and that was okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
It was the ratings were G, PG, and R.
Okay.
PG was a big blanket, and then they realized, oh wait, we're putting in things like freaking
Like penis breath.
well, no, it's like we're putting movies like I'm just trying to think of a not so. It's kind of like putting Care Bears in the same room as Terminator. In terms of how big of a blanket PG was.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure,
or
that's a
like
weird
Care
analogy,
Bears and
but-
Outlaw Star. No,
It wasn't
wait,
the best
Outlaw
analogy.
Star,
I couldn't think of a movie. I flubbed. I couldn't think of a movie. But
Okay, wait. I think I got this though. Like you're dropping Care Bears in with Temple of Doom.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess a better movie would be like Home Alone with Terminator 2.
I would see that mashup.
Well,
Kevin McAllister hacks into Skynet.
which is that movie where the serial killer sets booby traps in everyone's house, in his victims' houses?
Saw.
No.
No,
It's
Saw's like
is it like The Collector or something like that? It's a crappy movie, but it's a thousand times better if you picture the serial killer who sets the booby traps up in his victims' houses while he watches. It is a grown up Kevin McAllister.
Isn't that what Kevin McAllister actually does?
No. He set up the booby traps in his own house. Now he's setting up the booby traps in someone else's house.
Like, isn't that his real life job now?
Yeah, he tracks down the children of Joe Pesci and tortures them for an eternity.
Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern.
Thank you. That was the other scruffy
Marv.
guy.
It's Marv. Harry and Marv. Okay. All right. Well, let's move on from the movies. And okay, here's. Speaking of ratings, I heard lately that in some places, selling an M-rated game to a kid is basically being called parental neglect. Do you think that's pretty legit, or overreacting of the world again?
Wait, I'm confused. Is this like a
What?
parent giving an M-rated
No,
thing?
yeah, basically the parent buying an M-rated game for a kid is being called parental
Because
neglect now.
what the fuck, man? I'm going to jail right now. Because I let my kid play shit like Assassin's Creed since like he was old enough to hold a controller.
Ooh.
But
Well,
I mean, to be fair, that's my choice as a parent. Like I'm a parent, and so I can talk like I was from my perspective. That is fucking bullshit. As a parent, I can give my kid a sip of beer in my own home. I feel like it, but parental neglect. Do you let him play an M-rated game? What the serious fuck is up with that?
yeah.
I can't fathom
Grant,
this.
I understand that, but it's more for me. I think it's more concerning, like giving giving GTA to a 5-year-old and just letting the 5-year-old go crazy on it. If you really, really, really stretch it paper thin, maybe, but
Not even if you stretch a paper.
I wouldn't consider. I would consider it poor parenting, but I wouldn't consider it neglect.
Yeah, poor parenting at best. And that would be, I only call that poor parenting if your kid was mentally unstable to the point where he couldn't differentiate between reality and fiction. Like, my kid knows that that's a video game. He's not really going around killing people. He knows the difference between video game violence and real life. Like, anyone. Like, there have been so many...
You're breaking up.
I'll jump in on this part.
To
As someone who isn't a parent but has to deal with a
feed
lot
exploded.
of parents and children in my occupation at a candy store, I gotta say this is
So many jokes.
pretty dumb. I mean, because we're talking about a parent specifically buying their child an M-rated game, so they're there and present throughout this whole process.
Mhm.
And usually neglect is when the parent isn't there throughout the whole process.
Yeah.
So
Well, then again,
don't really get
it's
what
not
the
like the
problem
parents.
is.
It's not like the parents are playing the game with the kids.
well, maybe they should.
Oh, that I agree with. Yes, they should.
I think that would be a great idea,
Yeah,
but I
that would
also
be
don't
great.
think that Child Protective Services should be able to bust into your house all mafia style and take you away because you wanted your kid to
They bust into the
experience
house
Mass
and the
Effect.
kid breaks out with "Fuck those bitches."
Yeah, okay, so maybe the reason that this is considered parental neglect is they're trying to get, like, out ahead of this before kids are just capable of murder machines from parents buying them M-rated games, so they want to make sure that they have them all rounded up before that happens because it makes their job so much harder.
Oh yeah. Well, it's also the parents are
I-
putting the kids in front of the electronic babysitter.
Well, that's just a
Hey,
reality
don't
of
you
life
knock
now.
my electronic babysitter.
That's just something that we're going to have
Her
to deal
name
with.
is
It's
Sony.
something that I and most of the people that I knew growing up, we have so much more cool shit going on the screen than anyone before us ever had.
Yes.
It's just straight up an improvement to playing with a stick and a bunch of rocks. There's no way that you
It's an
can
electronic
convince
stick
me
in with a bunch of rocks.
that. Yeah, but
The
like,
stick
you
has
can do
changed-
so many more things.
The
with
wooden stick has
rocks
changed to a
that-
joystick.
Yeah, that's a way better stick. You know, I used to like beat the shit out of like trees in my yard with a stick, pretending it was a sword.
Yeah.
And instead, now I just play Skyrim, and then I like stab everybody
You
in the
blow up
back
the
in the
trees.
dungeon, which is way more fun because there is at least some kind of other feedback there.
Yeah. Okay.
My kids
Also, I don't get like sweaty. I don't have to go outside.
Well, unless you play DDR.
Yeah,
Which is
DDR
awesome.
is the shit though.
Yeah.
that's the only way I'll ever
DDR
exercise,
and Rock
is
Band.
playing DDR.
DDR
That is my
DDR was the
45
game I grew up
exercise a
playing.
day.
Well, when I was in high school, I played DDR. In college, I played Guitar Hero and Rock Band.
Yeah,
And
I
I got
used to
exercise.
play tons of Guitar Hero in college.
Speaking of
like,
which,
I
a
used
new
to have
Guitar
some-
Hero is coming out.
Yeah, I'm
Guitar Hero Live.
I'm interested.
Though,
If my old Guitar Hero 2 Red SG still works for it, I might pick it up because well, I don't really like the way the buttons feel in the new ones. Man, that old one is just nice and worn in perfectly for me. And I still got the hairband. Like that's holding
Nice.
up, that's making the whammy bar work.
oh yeah,
I can't do a flat
Jerry
whammy
rigged.
bar. I gotta have those style points.
it's the MacGyver jerry-rigged whammy bar.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think it's doing what Rock Band does, though. You have to buy a whole new controller and everything.
Yeah.
For the new.
Yeah. For the new one, it's going to require all new peripherals, though. But the thing is, the new one's supposed to be like live audiences. It's like you're in front of they're basically giving a bunch of artists cameras right now and just having them record their concerts
And stuff.
and then then they have the audience react in different ways to give it more of a live feel. I think that's a good.
But there aren't actually people watching me do this because then I
I don't know. They're saying that there is a Guitar Hero Live mode that has live audiences. I am not sure how.
Can you imagine how that would be with lag and latency, though? Oh my god!
It depends. Granted,
if
you could play fighting games online without much lag, you can do this without much lag.
But fighting games are really exciting to watch because it's two dudes duking it out in like amazing physics-defying fireball throwing way.
Unless I'm like looking in
You're
the
just watching
person's
some
camera.
dude going clack 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 clack.
Dude,
And
It's
then
like a
like
South Park
watch the
episode.
video of that like
Hey, I love that
12-year-old
song.
doing through the fire and flames on like hyperspeed.
Tick 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 tick
The
tick
guitar
tick, tick,
between
tick,
his
tick, tick.
legs and he's playing.
Yeah.
Like that was enjoyable to watch. Admittedly, not everyone's doing that. Like the average player.
You know what's
is not
actually
as
enjoyable to watch? Going to a Dragon Force concert and watching the actual dudes
Hey,
play.
I'm going to a Bad Religion concert in July or June, so I'm kind of happy.
Hey, oh, that's
I love watching
probably going to be a lot of
Concerts.
fun.
I love concerts. But yeah,
I
granted-
love concerts. They're so much
so
fun.
it's like the live thing is, or they're putting it in front of like a group of people, and it says, and you see if they're doing good or bad, and they're encouraging you to actually either cheer for the guy or treat him like crap.
Okay,
Well,
if
oh,
there's a heckle
God,
option,
dude, with-
Well, remember, we lost Justin again.
and this heckle option, although considering how toxic a lot of online communities have, if there is a heckle option, that could be some
It's gonna be a
really,
subreddit.
really bad news. Oh man.
Welcome back, Justin.
Hello.
hey,
You are quieter than you once were.
Hey,
is it working now?
Yeah.
you're a little quieter.
That's weird.
Weird. But yeah, basically, well, you know, like in Guitar Hero and Rock Band, when you're not doing well, the crowd starts to boo.
That's true, but they aren't saying specific things at you, which is what I worry the live crowd would be.
Yeah, so,
you could
I'm thinking
just
it's
say
gonna be.
some
I think
pretty
it's. I'm thinking
heinous
it's gonna be more of like a bunch of focus groups, in like more like a stadium setting, or it's like they invite or they have a bunch of people over. They in like say like a small venue or an arena or something like that, and they basically say, okay, everyone start cheering crazily. Everyone just murmur, and then everyone just start booing like crazy. So it's. I have a feeling it's just going to be a bunch of pre-recorded.
McBain.
McBain.
Yeah,
but
I mean, see,
Losing
if
them
this
again.
was actually live, you know what would be worse? All the debate about bullying and crap.
yeah, oh yeah, it's gonna you're gonna have some parent calling in because the crowd booed their little perfect kid for messing up hard mode Dragon Force or something like
What
that.
about flashing? Because that's a big part of rock concerts.
Ooh,
Is that
Guitar
gonna be
Hero
part of
Triple
this?
X version.
Like, if I get a perfect score, will I see titties? Or, like, the equivalent for... Like, what
That would
would be
be
the
it.
equivalent for women? Would it be the dong? Is that the object?
We
of
call it the
desire?
helicopter.
Oh, yeah, you can play helicopter by Block
Speaking
Party,
speaking
and then
of
you
the
get
difference between
kicked
PG
in,
and PG
you get the
13.
perfect score.
But yeah, it's but for me it's like it's an interesting concept. For me I prefer Rock Band a lot better, mainly because I can create my own guy. yeah, it's animated, and yeah, it's not like the live super experience, but it's like I get to see my creative guy along with some of my friends' creative characters on stage. That I like.
I think I would have liked that a lot more if I didn't feel like either Clive Winston or Izzy Sparks were the two, like, base personalities of how I would be as a rocker. So I was like, you know what? That's pretty much what I'd look like, depending on what it was that I was playing. So, I don't know, I didn't feel like I lost anything.
Hey, my guy had the trench coat. My guy had the blue trench coat and a baseball hat.
So he looked like a Columbine shooter?
There you go.
You have a killer time, guys.
No. I had the it was the Doctor Who trench coat and scarf.
Alright.
Or the Doctor What, I think it was called.
So reading about this, though, I think my favorite part is that you can stream music stations, like playing random songs. It's gonna generate beat maps and stuff.
Oh my god, that would be the best thing.
I think Rob just
yeah,
exploded.
right? Like, that's amazing.
That's like
that's
the
interesting
equivalent
concept.
of recording shit on a cassette mixtape off the radio in your car. Now we finally get the equivalent for Guitar Hero.
So, but yeah, basically, it seems like both Harmonix was working on Rock Band, and is it Activision or who's creating this one, Justin?
Activision, but Activision's the publisher.
Okay.
I think.
Who's the dev?
Is the developer? It's Freestyle Games.
Okay. Where do they know
developing this?
Did they make the past few games for Guitar Hero?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Let's see. They did DJ Hero. That's their first thing.
Oh.
With the franchise.
Well, that game wasn't bad. It didn't kick off because the freaking no one really wanted to do it.
Yeah, well, it was
a competent game. It just hit it was too small of a niche. It was too small of a niche. It's like for a game like this, having the DJ thing should be more of a side thing in the Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Rather than its own game.
And it needed to be more. Like, it was too small.
It was a very limited
to really appeal.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna call it DJ Hero, and the people who you're marketing this for aren't going to be interested because
it's because they already do that stuff for real.
Way wider spread. Yeah.
Yeah, they already do the stuff for real on their laptops.
Yeah, but they didn't know who they were aiming for. But I mean, have you seen the screens and whatnot? Like the screenshots for the game? It's so clean looking compared to how it was.
Yeah.
The new controller looks sick.
Yeah.
It
does.
I would say that is the best looking controller out of any of them.
But I am interested in seeing how after more information is released on both the new Rock Band and Guitar Hero, see how they stack up against one another, because it's pretty interesting. It feels like I'm back in college, where you have like the competition between the two games.
What I like about the two is they definitely have distinct things. Like Rock Band's going to be people uploading stuff, whereas this has people streaming music stations. Like. That's what I love about how they're doing it. Instead of competing, they both have decided to find like a unique market for what they're doing.
People are gonna have to get both controllers. Get both.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, yeah, if you want to do everything, get both. But I mean, that's exciting to me. To see two franchises instead of batting heads over the same content, realize, hey, let's try and both do something a little different and explore different ends. Because with music, there's so much shit you can do. So.
This is true. Very true. Oh, yeah. All right, well, let's move on to the next one then.
I'm probably going to be getting out of here in 10 minutes.
Okay.
I don't know how relevant that is.
Okay. All right, well, in that case, we'll do the next one as the last main topic then. In that case, the last one that we're talking about, that we have on the list here, Speaking of ratings and whatnot, and people uploading and doing things, as part of the as basically part of the one of the crowdsourced rewards for Pillar of Eternity, fans were able to add some text and dialogue to the game. Well, someone put a semi-offensive joke as like a little gravestone limerick, and it caused a bit of a outrage.
Oh, that was the one. It was like, dude looks like a lady. The
Yes.
epitaph.
Yeah, basically it was. Yeah, I can't really find it at the
Okay,
moment.
so
but-
was the point of contention just that the guy killed himself out of shame?
Yeah,
Like, that was their issue?
It's something like that, and along the lines of it was basically a joke. It was a guy thinking that he was that he was able to go to bed with a woman, and it turns out that it was a man. And the guy basically jumped off a cliff in confusion and shame.
Okay, I can kind of see where they're coming from
Yeah, I
there.
can see where-
That seems like
yeah.
a very extreme reaction.
Yes.
And really, like, there's no reason for you as the individual in that guy's situation to feel shame because, I mean, if the person in question looked outside of the genitals very much like a woman, it's perfectly reasonable that you would expect that, especially if they aren't correcting you otherwise. And then if you go home with them and then find out there's a penis there,
Surprise!
it's a legitimately traumatic experience. That is a complete bait and switch of expectations. There is so much there than he could have ever expected it to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it might have been more important. I think it might have been like, maybe he died of fright or something, and maybe that would pass.
Mm-hmm.
Or just kind of like, I'm not really sure if he needed to die as a result of it, but I think if they just took the shame portion out of it, it probably would have been fine.
Maybe, but here's what they changed the joke to. A cube made of mallow, a sweet fluffy fellow, was held in the fire when pink turned to black. Ready was the snack roasted on the pyre. That's what it changed to.
So we went from dude killing himself due to being
To
scared of a
marshmallow?
transgender person to being burned at the stake.
Something like that.
Marshmallow.
Or fluffy
That's-
marshmallow of the Obsidian Order.
Oddly appropriate if you wanted to
Yeah.
attach Witch Hunt
Mm-hmm.
to be the.
That's the exact joke
I
that
like
they made.
that. I really
he
like
basically
Obsidian
hung a
style
giant
there.
lampshade over it.
I could dig that. I
yeah.
can definitely
Mhm.
dig that. Yeah, I think the concern was a little overblown. I think if there wasn't the shame factor, then this wouldn't have been a deal at all. So I think it's okay to make
never
jokes
mind.
at the people lashing
It was a
out.
different one. Here's a different one that I think was made. Here lies Firedorn, a bard and a poet. He was also a card, but most didn't know it. I can't even freaking. I need.
Yeah, it's hard to read on those pictures.
Yeah, it really is. That's annoying.
I mean,
It's like you would think that they would zoom in a little
in
more.
my
but-
opinion, yeah, I get the whole trans anger over the issue.
Uh-huh.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's a topic that comes along. And to be honest, a transgender person would have been upfront, not be like, haha, I got you back to your house, surprise. Like, that would
Yeah.
be kind of
Yeah,
weird.
like that's a huge dick move right there to not
People-
inform somebody of that.
Yeah, that's why, it's not something I have quite a few friends in the trans community
Yeah. So what?
talk about it. That's not something they would do, obviously.
Mhm.
It's just, but I get where they're coming from, like why it
Okay.
bothers them. Like, these are people who are so
So
down
Oh
on,
boy.
they're gonna fight back every time when they feel slighted.
you're
But,
breaking up again.
Yay, Mike! Why don't you work today?
Okay. All right, here it is. Here lies Fireborn, a bard, a poet. He was also a card, but most didn't know it. A poem he wrote in jest was misread. They asked for blood, so now he's just dead.
All right.
Yeah.
That was the lampshade that
That's
he
a very
popped in.
poetic middle finger.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know, it's weird and it's blown out of proportion.
Basically,
but,
what Obsidian did, they contacted the backer who made the joke, asked him to pretty much change it, and the guy complied. and he gave him that.
Yeah, but I mean that's his right, obviously.
Yeah. It's
I mean
it's
he's
a
got a
shame
right
that
to
was
be a dick
taken in the
about
wrong way. It was a shame that was taken in the wrong way, but it's like I can understand where the rage is coming from, but
Ah.
oh well.
Justin, since it sounds like you know a number more trans people than I do you think if they just said that, like he saw a dick and got scared and ran and accidentally ran off a cliff, and there
I
wasn't
still
like
think it
that
would
he was
be-
ashamed of it?
I think it would still be a bit of an issue because
But-
I'm just to see their orientation mocked.
But
Like,
the trans person
but-
in question in this poem is being a huge douchebag by not being upfront about that.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. But like, there's not an actual. It's not like this is an actual person.
Yeah, no,
This guy is
it's
just being
completely
negative about
it's facetious.
trans people. Yeah, like this person's just painting trans in a completely negative light as well. Like even without the shame, the action itself is negative.
Yes.
So I mean, it is a bash on trans people. Like there's no getting around that.
Yeah.
Now, the
Oh yeah,
outcry
it is definitely a joke
large.
at their expense.
Yeah,
Is the
like,
song
and
Dude Looks Like a Lady a bash against trans people?
that's more about cross-dressing now.
But maybe this was a cross-dressing thing.
Well,
thing
that's-
is,
that's-
it's text
Yeah, like,
taken
we
out
don't
of context.
actually know if the person in this poem is actually
Yeah.
transgender or just cross-dressing.
Yeah, that is actually a point. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people posting in the comments have brought
That's a lot of
up.
people. Yeah, a lot of people were making that point, but it's like
But-
it could be it can be a gray area.
Yeah, it's the fact that it can be taken in that context by a people who are extremely slighted already in media, especially
Yes.
in media.
Yes.
So they're gonna react a certain way, and I can see where Oblivion reacted the way they did. They're just like, "Hey, listen, really, this is offensive to some people. We realize that. Could you maybe change it?" And the guy did it. I mean, sure, it's a middle finger, like, "Ha, you forced me to change something."
It was a lampshade.
but I
They
mean,
did change it.
Yes.
yeah, they did change it,
Yeah.
and he complied without any hassle.
Well,
Like there was.
they asked him to write a new one. That's
Yeah.
what they did.
Yeah, asked him to write a new one. Like, hey, we realize it's still your content. Can you write a new one? And he's like, sure, I guess, okay. But I mean, we live in a society where social justice is a thing, and it's not like this is new. It's just with the internet, we hear about it more.
Hmm.
And so I think, I don't know. It's weird because I would love to
It's tough.
see. I love seeing freedom of speech. But on the other hand,
Well, this
Yeah,
is a
it's
private
offensive.
thing. The only thing that freedom of speech means is that the government can't tell you to stop saying stuff.
well, yeah.
Yeah, it only
I mean-
protects you from the government, not other people.
Well,
Yeah.
I realize that, but I love seeing people to be able to express themselves, even if they're idiots,
Yes.
and
Well,
have
it's-
stupid.
I'm
It's
okay
shown that
with
they're idiots.
idiots losing that ability. I don't think that's particularly necessary.
In that case, you'd be a communist or whatever.
What? Wouldn't I be like the exact opposite? Wouldn't I be a
Oh, I know.
fascist?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
because you're
fascist.
but because
I
you're
think I'd be a
fascist.
fascist.
There you go. Fascist. How did I mix those two up? God damn it.
Ah.
It's been a long day. Well, in that case, let's end it on a more fun note, which is, let's see, which is a better secondary profession? Dr. Mario and his pill-pushing abilities versus Captain Toad and his treasure hunting.
Treasure hunting. How is this? Man, this is so not even a question.
Oh, what
Treasure
are you
hunting
talking
is
about?
legitimately the coolest occupation you could possibly have. There is nothing better. Treasure hunting is the primary focus of people who lose their entire lives playing video games just to virtually replicate. And you're telling me that the profession for real, it's up for debate as not being the coolest thing? I mean, that's what pirates are after. That's what Indiana Jones was after. That's
Oh, no,
what
he was after relics.
still treasure.
Museum.
Hey man,
Historical
it's still treasure.
treasure.
You don't have to spend the treasure. You just have to get it.
I'll go with pill pushing because just think about it. Then you could rise to be the Kingpin, and look at what Daredevil showed us. The Kingpin's badass.
This is
You
true.
could rise to be that level of awesome through pushing pills, slowly take over the criminal world.
Did
Plus
he
he-
do that
plus-
with pills though?
Plus he
Or
does
was
have
it
the
like,
plus he does have the University of Phoenix
when-
med degree.
When he started, he was into drugs and all that. Like he was running the streets, an enforcer, and whatnot, got into the drug trade and everything. So yes, that is literally how Kingpin kind of gets his rise,
Pushing the pills.
and then he just takes over.
Popping the pills.
But yeah,
Yeah, but
just
then you're a drug dealer. Like, that's your job, and a good chunk of society
drugs.
hates you. Everybody loves
No.
a treasure hunter. You will always
hate
be
it's
cool, no
awesome.
matter what room that.
Hibbotham!
Huh?
You're always very happy.
Yeah, like everybody loves treasure hunting. How could you
And in
not
today's
get that?
society, everyone loves pills,
How
too.
could you trade treasure hunting to like enabling people's addictions? How could you trade treasure hunting towards being a pariah in the public eye and deservedly so? You don't even get like
treasure
that
hunters
cool
are a
anti-hero
pariah
fight?
in the public eye.
But what if your addiction is treasure hunting?
Dude, no offense.
Then
but
hunt
in
treasure,
legitimate
motherfucker.
society, treasure hunting is a pariah-like job. They're seen as scavengers and dishonest, almost like thieves.
So
Like, these are
who?
not people
Who
who
said
emulate.
this?
That's just how they're
Everyone.
looked upon. Like, you're wasting your life, you worthless dredge on society. Like, no,
So you're like
either
Nathan
way,
Drake.
you have a job that society does
Nathan
not
Drake is
view
cool as
in a
shit.
positive
I do
light.
not want to be Nathan Drake.
You do kind
There
of have
are
the
a lot
facial
of
hair of Nathan
cool-
Drake.
There are a lot of cool treasure hunters. But there are also a
But
lot
my
of
hair
really
doesn't
badass
like
drug lords.
stay in one spot like his does.
Use enough gel, it can.
I don't know, man. I mean, Nate Drake needs to come out with his own line of gel so that I'm sure that this can
Hair
be a
cement.
reality.
No,
Yeah, maybe
you-
that's it. Maybe he just like takes like those rubber cement things and just like puts them in his hair and then gives a little and
A
then
little flip.
Come on, Rob. If you're gonna have anybody's crazy spiky hair, you're gonna go with Goku hair gel, so you can have.
I'd say with this
multiple spikes
hairstyle, it's closer to Trunks.
But the problem with like the Goku hair is, you know, that could get flattened out by some drawer frames.
What are you talking about? It's Goku. It'll break the door frame.
I don't think my hair is Super Saiyan. I don't think any of me is Super Saiyan. I don't got a tail. I ain't got shit, man. I don't got a tail.
Super
I don't got a
Saiyan
cloud
power
that
is
flies
spelled with
around.
hair gel,
I don't have
yo.
a bow staff that extends into infinity. I ain't got shit.
Stranger danger! Boom.
Yeah.
Oh, well. But, alright. So I guess so, for you viewers, you listeners listening in, tell us what you think in the comments. Tell us if you have a different opinion as any of us. Let us know in the comments down below there. And let us know what you think. And perhaps we will address it in a future issue of Pass the Controller. But I think we definitely had a pretty good conversation today on this one. So,
Yeah.
for...
we were way off topic, though.
We were
Somewhat.
everywhere, dude.
Oh, good. We had a whole bunch of awesome topics tonight.
PTC Omnibus.
The omnibus would be bigger than a damn encyclopedia at this point.
What would a cat omnibus be like? Or an Omnicat bus from
Adorable.
Totoro?
Well, I was about to say, isn't that in like Totoro or something?
Yeah, I was thinking like that cat bus, but omnipresent. It's just
Big
we are
cat
all cat bus.
We all cat bus.
We aren't all of Cat Bus? I thought that's what we were in.
That there's the new PTC tagline. Pass the controller, cat bus.
We are all cat bus.
We are all cat
We
bus.
are Cat Bus.
We are cat bus. All right. Well, thank you all for watching tonight. I hope to see you all again another time. And for Justin and Rob, I am K7. Thank you all very much again for watching. As I mentioned before, definitely leave some comments on the topics tonight. And if we see anything interesting, we'll be happy to address it. So, until next time, I am K7. Have a wonderful night.
Peace.
Oh,